I shuddered when I thought of what we would have had to endure had this been any other family. The young Duvages, thrilled by their first party and by the family's first acceptance in this country, kept showing their pleasure in wide, delighted smiles. I couldn't believe they were the same timid, downcast youngsters I had known at school. We ate fried fish at a long plank table in the backyard. Father kept the conversation going. As he told stories and jokes, we discovered that the Duvages had a gift for gaiety, and how they loved to laugh. After supper, David played folk songs on his accordion. Mr. Duvage turned out to be something of a ventriloquist. He made the dog Casimir talk in Polish and the cat Jan talk in German. He could tell that the Duvage family was a great surprise to Father, and that he had enjoyed the evening tremendously. "To think," he murmured as we crossed the street, "that they should turn out to be the people of courtesy and accomplishment." Father sighed and shook his head. "They're being looked down on and ignored by their inferiors." After that evening, things began to improve for the Duvages. Our neighbors looked up to Father and often followed his lead, since he was the only college graduate on Syringa Street. They decided if the Duvages were good enough for a highly educated man like Father, they were good enough for them. So they started inviting Mr. and Mrs. Duvage to community parties. It wasn't long before the Duvage boys and girls started making friends in the community. David was invited to play his accordion at a country dance, and he ended up being one of the town's most popular musicians. The other Duvage youngsters taught their folk dances to the boys and girls at school. Even Casimir began to take on the ways of an American dog, daring to bark and growl on occasion. Syringa Street presently had reason to be grateful to Miss Duvage, who turned out to have a great gift for nursing. In times of severe illness, the doctor invariably suggested that she be sent for. When Miss Duvage slipped into a sick room, she never failed to bring along an air of peace. After an hour or two, the patient was calmed and the family reassured. Soon people began to turn to the Duvages with all kinds of problems. The elder Duvages, with their old world wisdom, would sit by the hour and talk gently and convincingly against fear, false pride, disgrace, and grief. One winter day, Mr. Duvage gave Father a pair of handsome, fur-lined mittens, just the right size for Father's enormous hands. After our neighbor had left, Father drew on the mittens, which had a slightly ashy odor. "Probably one of the boys found them in an ash heap at the dump," Father remarked. "But why should I value them any less? Who would have dreamed that the Duvages would have so much more to offer than we have to offer them?"